tripping on you. Oh, God, y'all, come in here, hurry up so I can tell y'all what's going on. What's popping, everybody? Welcome back to the bar. It's your fave. It's me. It's me, guys. Hey. I told y'all that I was going to be doing this evening's pour-up a little later because I really had to figure out what the hell I was going to talk to y'all about because, oh, court, I don't know, y'all. Let me send the hootie hoo out. Y'all can't see me when I leave. Y'all can't see me when I leave. Is my chat on? Why I can't see my chat? This is so ghetto. That's okay, because I'm going to see the chat. I'm going to see the chat today. Mm-hmm. I see the chat. Children, what is up with y'all? That's tacky. That's tacky. Hello? 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 Yeah. Well, I'm live. Okay. All right. Sorry, y'all. That was peanut butters. Anyway, y'all get up in here. It is day 24 of the Diddy trial. Okay, this man right here. This dude right here. I'm so mad that I can't see my comments. You know what? I'm going to have to do this. And then hopefully that'll come up in my chat. I can't see my... I have to go down here in the comments in order to see. Anyway, we here, Henny. Can you see us? I can see y'all on this phone, but I can't see y'all on my other phone. All right, but anyway, I see the numbers, all right? And the numbers is numbering. And baby, let me tell y'all, they was Diddy bopping all up and through today. Like some of my notes, I don't even understand what I was trying to write. I got a whole lot of dates and a whole lot of stuff that I just was like, I don't understand what we're looking at. Jesus, help me here. Help me, and help me. Because it's a lot. It was a lot of paperwork, a lot of writing down that I took. And I started off good. See, my notes was all nice. You know, they was nice. And then after a while, the handwriting started getting sloppier and sloppier because the testimony was getting sloppier. And you see from that. And sloppier. Baby. All right. So let me tell y'all. We started off with Brendan Paul getting immunity. Okay. He got up there on that stand. And he said, and I told y'all this earlier, that he was going to plead the fifth to everything if they didn't give him immunity. So he got the immunity. All right. They let Diddy go into the back to go see the exhibits, the evidence that they had against him. So court didn't start until 9:15 when he came back up in there, right? And Diddy came in there. It looked like he had on that beige pullover sweater that he got. He had his glasses on today. He was really giving me like pop vibes for real today. He still looked like this, but he got gray hair. Okay, still look like that. Tan pants, white button-up shirt, you know, the usual. And at first, nobody was there except for his publicist. And then at some point, his mom and Justin came. I don't know. I heard the daughters was there. I didn't see the daughters there though. But I did see Mama Combs and them. They was in there, right? So they started off showing us stuff like, from August of 2009, okay? And they showed us the London Hotel in Manhattan and Diddy's name and Cassie's name and Jules Theodore were the names on the rooms, okay? It was charged to his Amex, all right? And there were charges to the hotel room. Now, I told y'all this already, but, I'm just going to, we went over how, the rooms were in this one's name and all of this stuff was going on. And they was showing us all the text messages and stuff that was correlating and lining up with everything. But, baby, when it came time for cross-examination, because the prosecution has already layeth everything out for us, okay? They layeth it out. And we picked up what they put down because, baby, let me tell you, you cannot have personal stuff on your business account because you pay business taxes for that stuff. And being that he was using airline flights and hotel rooms, I'm quite sure there's some type of tax, something that's going to come up, popping up out of this, because you can't tell them peoples that this was a business expense, that it was an artist that was flying in these planes and going to these hotel rooms, and we finding out that they correlate with freak off stuff. So I would not be surprised if some tax stuff ends up coming down the pipeline behind all of this, because you cannot mix business and personal. You can't do it. You can't do it. But y'all double tap that screen and get them likes up. So they already showed that, and all of us was sitting up in the courtroom like, oh, clench my pearls. They done showed us trafficking in that because they the escorts that was being flued out. They done showed us the transportation to engage in prostitution. Okay. Oh, Raggy, it's the issue. Okay. Now, when it came down time for the defense to come and make their case, let me just say this. It was smoke and mirrors. It was smoke and mirror time up in that courtroom because, first of all, they were trying to say that the agent who was sitting there, okay, agent, what was her damn name? I keep forgetting this lady's name, and I wrote it down several times for me to try to remember, but obviously that didn't help because I didn't remember, okay? It's Pin something. Pinland, I believe is her name, okay? She was the person who was responsible for taking the text messages and the phone calls and lining them up with the flights and, the hotel rooms and the hotel charges and all of that. She was responsible for lining the information up. However, it was a trial team that gave her the information for her to put it all together, right? So Teeny Garagos was on the cross-examination. Now, Teeny compared to Westmoreland, Nicole is an itty bitty thing, okay? But I done told y'all before, Nicole is a pit bull in a skirt, all right? She is a pit bull. You think she's nice. She step up to that podium. She be like, hello, my name is Nicole Westmoreland, and I am representing my client, Sean Combs. And after that, it's over. She's just gonna, she's shaking, and she gonna grab hold of you and she gonna shake. Okay, she gonna shake. All right, Nicole Westmoreland is no joke. I would rather have her defend me than have her coming at me. I don't want no smoke with Nicole. All right, Teeny, people have said it. She's like your girlfriend. Like, okay, she's a little more gentler with her approach. However, she lost the audience. I'm not gonna lie to you. She lost the audience. When I tell y'all, I don't know if I told y'all this earlier or not, people were leaving out of the overflow room as she was doing her cross-examination. I swear to you, no exaggeration. I looked around that room and that room was emptying out. Okay, it went from people sitting in the gallery to we looking around like, well, damn, where did everybody go? Because what happened was, I guess she was trying to discredit Agent Penland, who was up there testifying by saying, well, you didn't have all of this information. This isn't all the information because there's these texts that are from the same day that you didn't add to this chart. But then she was also throwing in there it was so many dates being tossed around. It was really hard to keep up with. I'm not even going to lie to you, hold you. No, none of that. Y'all know I'm not going to lie to y'all. Now, at the end of the day, thankfully the day came to an end today. She was bringing text messages into the fold that I was sitting here, me personally, I'm sitting here like the text messages that they lined up showed where there was communications that were coordinating flights, coordinating the hotels, coordinating all of that. So to me, those text messages lined up with everything. But the text messages that Teeny was bringing out were like how it even got to them sending for the flights and all that other stuff, which we didn't need to hear. It showed Cassie setting up some of them freak offs. Y'all double tap that screen, double tap that screen. Thank you so much for the super chat. I didn't get a chance to see it, but let me go on over here and let me see what you're talking about. All right. Thank you, Zippy, for the super chat. I have to look on here, okay, in order to see that. I can't see y'all comments. I promise that I will come down into these comments and I will read what y'all are saying down here because I can't see it up here. But anywho, she brought text messages into the fold where Cassie is up there talking about she want big black, she want BBC, that she want to lick from the tank to the top. Okay, she talking freaky. Diddy talking about my saddle is waiting. All on his face. All on his face. That's what he want her to do is sit down and put it in his mouth. That's what he want. I mean, some of these text messages, we was sitting back like, oh my. And we was giggling like kids in school when you hearing some stuff that you ain't supposed to be hearing. And the crazy part about it is sometimes the agent was reading it and sometimes Teeny Garagos was reading it. So we was like, girl, did you just say that in open court? But it was showing that, Cassie was, I guess you could say, she was compliant with a lot of this stuff. But at the same time, that's not something that's new to us. We knew that at some point in time, she didn't want to do this no more. Okay? But going along with it for her man, right? And I told y'all how they showed us all the behind the scenes text messages and things of that nature that was going on. Cassie and Diddy go through different escorts, and Cassie talks about how, okay, this is, let me see. Let me go back to my notes, okay? Diddy and Cassie. Okay, so at one point in time, there was a text message, right? And it came from Cassie, but before I get there, let me see. After the lunch break, okay, these are my notes. This is what I wrote here, all right? Let's go all the way up to right before we went to lunch, okay? So it was a lot of text messages that was going on, okay? Cassie and Diddy had gone through different escorts, and Cassie talked about how one of the escorts would freak out. Like he was like, well, what about this one? And she was like, he's kind of weird, but I guess he'll do. And then she went into, well, he's going to freak out if I get my cycle. Baby, most men do freak out if they knock your cycle down. They don't, that's not a goal. That's not a goal that they really be going for, okay? Now, Tinny seemed to be showing other supporting text messages that were not included in the chart, but the information doesn't seem relevant to the chart. Okay, this is what I wrote down here. I said it's an overload of information. This is drawn out. This is a drawn out cross. Just get to the point of your cross, Teeny. This is my note that I wrote right here. This is what I said right here, okay? It says, okay, at one point in time, they cut the feed. Now, this is where it got spicy at, okay? They cut the feed to the exhibits being shown down into the overflow room. And everybody in the courtroom that was a part of legal defense teams and the person who was the witness up on the stand, yeah, see, they had put on their headphones, okay? And they began playing little portions of videos, little clips of the videos. Now, I'm not saying that they freak off videos, but what other videos would they be showing that was correlating with these dates and times that people's was out there getting their little hoochie coochie la 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 on, okay? It was freak off videos. And I told y'all, I already gave y'all the animation of how people's was looking and how they was reacting to this. And I told y'all somebody down there in the gallery in the main courtroom snitched and said that they could still hear in the headphones, which I don't even know why y'all would tell. Why y'all snitching? We nosy. Okay? We want to know what they listening to. And the agent, when she had her headphones on, right? She was a little close to the mic. So every now and again, we would hear a little something. So I know me, I was sitting there like, you hear something? Oh, did you hear that? What that sound like to you? You heard that? That was me in the courtroom. Did you hear what they said? And then all of a sudden, everybody turned around and looked back. And then they take their headphones off. And then somebody in the damn gallery talking about, we could hear it through the headphones. You need to be banned from the damn courtroom, whoever you are. Because you done ruined it for every damn body. We was trying to get a little snippet of what was going on. Just a little bit. We just wanted to know what y'all was hearing. We didn't have to hear the whole thing. Y'all could have said we going to play a little piece of the freak off videos. And then we would have been like, oh, they listening to freak offs. No, now we sitting here straining our ears and stuff, knowing good and damn well we blast music in our ears and we don't hear too good all the time no more. So we was trying to strain. I was straining and I was in there. I was like, oh, did you hear that? That sounds like a man voice, right? Was that a moan? What that sound like to you? Then they ruined it because it got all quiet. Then you had Mark Agnifilo going to take his headphones off and put them in the chair and see if he could hear anything before he put them back on his damn head. Why we can't hear it? Y'all hearing it, the jury hearing it. Why we can't hear it? Anyway, I already told y'all what everybody's faces was looking like in my other video when they was watching these videos and how they was trying to be straight-faced. But that lady on the stand, she was kind of giving it away because she was... Matter of fact, I'm going to do you one better. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I got you. Let me get back up here on this stand. This was her. She got the headphones on. And she was sitting, she was like, that's what she was doing. And Diddy, he sitting there with his headphones on, right? And he got his leg crossed. And he was looking, say y'all the jury. Okay, y'all gonna be the jury now. He have his headphones on. Then he sit back and get to tapping on the side of his thigh. Real rapidly. And then, yeah. I was watching him. Looking like he stole a cookie out the damn cookie jar, Diddy. We know that's you on them tapes. Talking about, take that. Yeah, bad boy. Come out and play. Anyway, so They listened to about 10 clips of the freak off, like I told y'all earlier. So now after lunch, okay, Teeny after lunch break continues to show messages of Cassie coordinating freak offs. Okay, her and Diddy was coordinating the freak offs. At one point in time, it was like, oh, you want to freak off? Oh yes, because I'm so horny for you. All right, you call Garen and get the guy. I'll get the place. This Diddy and Cassie. She gonna get the guy, he gonna get the place. And then she's telling him, okay, I'm gonna get ready. You go get the supplies and I'll pick up the candles. They coordinated. And I'm just like, you do realize that the government just showed us. Because I had to keep telling myself, because I was getting caught up in some of these text messages too and all this freak off activity or whatever. But it was a smoke and a mirror, all right? Because I kept saying to myself, what does this have to do with the financial institution information that was given to us? What does this have to do? Okay, you showing us that they was coordinating these freak offs and they weren't included in the text messages. So you trying to make it seem like this lady didn't do her job properly. But in all actuality, she did a phenomenal job at putting this together because we got the coordinates. We got the text message from Diddy to Cassie, then from Cassie to Garen, and then the phone calls, and then the flight information in the text message. And then we got to see on the statements where the travel agency booked the flight, and it was for the escort's name that she was chatting with or chatting about, and how they landed in JFK. Or they landed in LAX from JFK, and how they flew in on the day that the room was booked, and they either flew out the next day or they flew out at the time when or they flew out right at the checkout. Okay, we even had one of them hotel rooms where they gave the entertainment his own room at the hotel. And while Cassie and Diddy was staying in a $2,000 a night hotel room, he was staying in a $400 a night hotel room in this fancy bougie hotel. Okay, so she laid all of that groundwork out just fine for me. We didn't need all the over sexualized and salacious text messages that came prior to. To me, that was just fluff. But people were getting sucked into all of the text messages with Cassie. And I'm like, okay, so what are we doing? Are we trying to debunk the statements, or are we really trying to sway people into forgetting what it is that they just heard? Because there's no way that you're going to forget what you just heard when he's charging these hotel rooms on his personal card and bad boy ENT is paying the bill for him. There's no way. But like I said, people was getting caught up in the messages. So I said, but what was shown to us on direct, we saw the flights, hotel rooms, payments, etc. This isn't debunking anything and feels like just an overload of information. But they are also showing how Cassie was a part of the planning and doesn't take away from the fact that the escorts were transported from state to state, nor does it take away from Diddy paying for flights, hotels, etc. with his Amex, and that Amex bill was being paid for by his multiple legal businesses. Now, this is a part of my notes, because I had to keep jotting that down for myself to remember that that is not what we are here for. Y'all double tap that screen, because I had to keep reminding myself that we were not here to hear about more freak off stuff. You were supposed to be laying out for us any inconsistencies in that story, but instead you were trying to make the agent seem like she was incompetent when she actually did show us all of the information that we needed to see in order to be able to piece together that his businesses were taking care of his personal life, okay? And before people start coming in here talking about, oh no, he ain't break no laws, prostitution is illegal. That is a criminal act, okay? Transporting a prostitute from one one state to another, that is illegal. So that is covering up criminal activity, okay, and masking it behind a legitimate business. And baby, that is part of RICO. Okay, it is part of RICO. Okay, now Cassie did want to spend time with Diddy, but you know, it ended up with always, sometimes, I'll say sometimes, not always, ending up with some other escort. Now, they showed us a text message from some guy named Dave Newest, so I guess he was the newest to the roster. He told Cassie, I want to put that, and I want to bite and suck on your body. Nasty with that punana. This is what they're showing us in court. Mind you, they just showed us everything that came down to showing how everybody was hustling and shifting around and all of that. And this was the defense's comeback. This was the defense's comeback to give us these text messages, okay? Now, I did say I was watching the people responding, getting sucked into the text messages and completely forgetting about what we just saw. They're reacting to Cassie asking for freak-offs and her participation in the setup of most of these freak-offs and not what was just shown to us by the prosecution. The defense is doing a good job at the smoke and mirrors, but because I see folks are eating it up, but not me. Okay, so now they did go on and they showed us another text message where Cassie was talking about she didn't like doing the unprotected thing with the escorts. And she said, you know, sometimes she gets so high that she be forgetting. And so she was asking Diddy, like, how do you feel about that? And he was like, it's all good. He told her, he said, all good. We'll get new tests and set up new rules. So when we get to Jane, and Jane is telling us that he don't want to see no rubber. I mean, it's evolution. I don't know. But anyway, there was a text about not recording a freak off as well, because they had did a freak off and Cassie was like, you didn't record anything, did you? And he said no, and she was like, okay, good. So she didn't want a freak off recorded. Then they sent us, and this is the photo. Oh, I gotta find this photo for you, because I said I should have put this on the damn thumbnail. Let me see if I can find this photo. If I can find this photo, because this photo always pops up in my images when I be looking for photos of Diddy. And watch today be the day. Come on, don't make me out to seem weird. Show me the Diddy picture. It was a picture of him in the hotel room. And he got a book bag on his back. And he got a hat, a baseball hat on his head. And I done seen that damn photo so many damn times when I was looking up other pictures of him. Let me see if I could just randomly find it. And once y'all see it, y'all gonna be like, oh, I know that photo. Because it's a photo that Cassie took of him in a hotel room. We had no idea that that picture was a part of the freak off, y'all. It was part of the freak off, y'all. We were seeing evidence without knowing that we were seeing evidence. Ain't that crazy? Okay, let me see. Diddy black hat. Let's see if it come up. If I type in Diddy with the black hat, if it come up. I'm so mad that it's not coming up right now. I'm gonna see what happens. If I find it later on, I will post it to my Instagram and I will say to y'all, this is the photo right here. I just knew it was going to pop up real quick. I just knew people was going to be looking for that damn photo. I guess not. And now look, when I wasn't looking for it, it kept popping up. But now that I'm looking for it, ain't that just that's a mess. That is a mess. I can't believe that Google is doing me like this. Don't do me like this, Google. Show me that damn photo. All right, this is the last time I'm going to go scrolling through to see if I can find this photo for y'all. But I think y'all know what photo I'm talking about. He's standing in a hotel room. He got on a black hat. He got a book bag on, and he's dressed in all black. We've all seen that photo multiple times. We've all seen that photo. Okay, well, it ain't show up. So when it do, I'm going to make sure I post it and show you. And I'm going to be like, this the photo, y'all. All right, well, anyway, it was a photo that Cassie had sent to him. And it was a text with the both of them. And they were saying that they was both in the studio and that they did not have time for a freak off. But they was trying to make sure that they had, that they made some time. Like they were trying to make time to be able to do this freak off, okay? Remind you, the prosecution has just shown us, let me remind y'all before y'all get sucked into this story too, okay? Remind you, before this started coming out on defense, the prosecution just showed us hotels, flights, and text messages that lined up with these hotels, these flights, credit card bills that lined up with these charges, and payments made from his businesses. Remember, this is what the prosecution just showed us, and this is what the defense is giving us. Remember that. Do not get caught up in the story. I ain't going to allow y'all to get caught up in the story. Okay? Come reel it on in, bring it on back, and remember what was just shown to us, okay? So then they showed us text messages where Cassie tells Diddy that she loves him. And my thing with that was, what the does this have to do with Enterprise, all right? Then there was another text message where Cassie was thanking Diddy for the flowers and getting her house cleaned, how it looks spick and span spotless. And she told him that she loved him forever. And this was after the freak off, okay? This is after, all right? Then they started showing us a message between Diddy, not between Diddy and Cassie, but it was a bunch of people who they were saying, you don't know if these people work for Diddy or not. You don't know if there was travel arrangements. Y'all double tap that screen. Travel arrangements that were made for employees or not, because you didn't bother to investigate who any of these people were. But those people in that time and that date was not even on the timeline, y'all. Cassie and Diddy go through different escorts. Cassie talks about her. I already told y'all about that. Then Cassie and Diddy were doing a fantasy play. Okay. Where they was pretending that they were strangers. In the text message, she told him that she wanted him to pretend to be somebody else, that she's not Cassie, he's not Diddy, he's not Sean, he's not Mr. C, he's none of those people, he's a complete stranger, okay? And they couldn't text each other because they didn't know each other, right? So they had to meet at the bar, and he had to seduce the prettiest woman in the bar, which would be her, to go with him. So she was setting up a scene for these two to engage in a stranger, cosplay kind of thing, you know, a slex play, okay? But I still was like, what does this have to do with what we just, this has nothing to do with it. It's good tea, okay? It's good henny. But this has nothing to do with the fact that we are looking at what the prosecution just showed us, okay? Then they started showing the timeline and the charts, and they showed messages between Cassie and Garen, but not text messages between Diddy and Cassie. This is what Teeny was bringing up, was that you got these messages, but you don't have these messages. Like, you don't have the messages between Cassie and Diddy. You just have these messages. Well, the reason that the messages between Cassie and Diddy were not a part of the timeline is because they had nothing to do with the actual planning and arranging of the actual flights and hotels. See, this is where I started saying, okay, now you're trying to poke holes in the story after you done gave everybody the smoke and mirrors. Now you want to say to them, now the bait and switch here. Look, you ain't got no text message between Cassie and Diddy here. But Cassie and Diddy was not talking about the flight arrangements. Cassie was handling the flight arrangements under Diddy's direction. Just saying. Okay. Teeny then took us through the chain of texts surrounding the Intercontinental Hotel incident. Nothing was debunked on these charges, and the way they were paid through the multiple businesses. So even though she took us through that timeline of charts, she did nothing. Y'all double tap the screen to sway us away from what we were just shown, because for me, this should have, when they started going through the timeline, should have refreshed everybody's memory as to what we heard from the prosecution that morning. All right. Teeny showed explicit. She showed more explicit texts that were not related to the chart or the timeline at all. And baby, it just, Diddy said he was, okay, on one of these text messages, right? Diddy has said that this was the Intercontinental Hotel one, where he had text Cassie and said that if they start around 7 or 8 at night and they end at 4 in the morning, they could take a Xanax or Ambien and go to sleep and they would be good. That they would have to make it short because they couldn't get caught in the matrix. Because if you remember, Cassie had her premiere for The Perfect Match that was coming up. But what ended up happening is they ended up getting into a fight. And guess what? There was no text messages that indicated that Cassie stole anything from him, that Cassie had any of his property. No, none of that. There was none of that that was shown to us. But what is left in my memory of all of this from today is the fact that KK and D-Rock sprung into action when it came down to getting him up out of that hotel. And then KK and Diddy sprung into action when it came down to getting the evidence of what happened at the Intercontinental Hotel, getting the evidence from Eddie Garcia. That was all shown to us, okay? So at this point in time, and we also seen multiple text messages, well, multiple phone calls between Eddie Garcia and Diddy. And then we saw phone calls between Eddie Garcia and KK, or text messages between, like, nothing that the defense came and brought this afternoon really left us with a question mark as to did he pay for this stuff or not. For me, it was a definite that that's exactly what happened, the way that the prosecution laid it out, and that the defense didn't really have a defense against it. So they just went on ahead and tried to smoke and mirrors us. But let me see what you guys are saying down here in these comments, because I can't see the comments on this screen. So I would fancy a lot of things when rent is due. It's perfectly okay for girls to get paid, but this is not the civil case. This is the state, and it's criminal and overreach and wrong. Okay, Fuzzy, it's not a state case. It is a federal case, okay? That's completely different. State, federal, civil, different. All of it is different, and it's a federal case, all right? Now, I'm done trying to educate people. I'm not about the predicate offenses. Like, there's predicate acts that go along with a RICO. And I'm sorry, as much as I hate to be the one to say it, there are predicate acts that have been proven in this case. Transportation to engage in prostitution is definitely there, solidified, okay? The sex trafficking, that's there, okay? The sex trafficking, that's there, okay? You've got, what other ones do you have? You only need 2 of the predicates in order for the RICO to come down, all right? I don't know if they're going for wire fraud, but that's one that can be looked at. Kidnapping, if they can make the arson stick arson. Blackmail, there's no getting around the blackmail. The blackmail is there for sure, because Cassie's mother showed us the blackmail, okay? So that's one that's solidified right there, okay? I'm trying to think of another one that could be solidified for him. Well, you could hit him with the kidnapping, because, Or is that force, fraud, or coercion? Because you was trying to take her into the room, but you never got her into the room and held her against her will. So that wouldn't be considered kidnapping. Capricorn Clark testified to kidnapping. The Enterprise was shown to us today. I'm trying to think of all of the predicates because it's a lot. There's a bunch of predicates, and I'm telling you, he's definitely got that blackmail one. If they can make the arson stick, they have arson. If they can make the kidnapping stick, they got kidnapping. You got the wire fraud. You've got you could try to go for trafficking of the DR Uggs because those were transported from state to state. However, a lot of people like to put that there has to be a profit. There does not have to be a profit. It just has to be an agreement that everybody is moving in the interest of one particular thing, and that's to protect Diddy. Everybody's job, they had one job, and that was protect Diddy. Okay? Protect Diddy at all costs. At all costs. It didn't matter the cost. You protect him. Okay? And that's where you see a lot of this covering up that is happening from the employees going around doing things that they technically should not, because that has to deal with his personal life. But whether it be his business or his personal life, they was all part of it. They was all up in it and through it. So, then there's that. I really hate the fact that they be locking them all the way down the stairs. Hello. I wish I could see y'all comments right now. Thank you. But I can't. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Okay. So, when I get back up these steps, I'm going to look at y'all comments, and I am going to talk to y'all for a little bit, and then I'm going to get off of this phone because I need to take my shower and I need to go to bed. Because today was one of those days where it was already rainy and dreary outside. And we were stuck in the damn courtroom, listening to this all day. Oh, all right. Let's get this back up. Let's get it started. Okay. Whew. All right. Now that we are here, now that we are all gathered together here, let's see what y'all talking about. Diddy had that ninja French greased up in baby oil. You know what? I'm not doing this with you, swag. Hey, Tyron. Teeny only validated the RICO. She did more damage to his defense than good. Combs is paying stupid tax. Did he piss off Garrigo's handlers? Oh, I don't know, girl. Her leverage of freakiness. I mean, Cassie said she was with it at one point until she wasn't. Then they was wilding out with no Nick Cannon in sight. That was cute. BET, MTV, Golden Globe Awards, all were freak-off nights. Yes. Yes. Cassie is probably far from her past. She probably refused any of that sick stuff Combs had her doing. Too many bad memories. Henny, it was a bot. If it's federal, he's going to lose all his money. Yes, Frankie, yes. It's federal, and they already are coming. Thank you, Phyllis. Bribery, yes. Whew. Kidnapping, blackmailing the mom, enterprise, tampering witness, thank you. Obstruction of justice, thank you. The mind was going blank. All you need is two. Sorry about all the caps, but the civil case is what embarrassed the government. Fed, okay, yes, just was referencing to criminal. This is criminal. Yes, he did. Fuzzy math. Have you been keeping up with this? Who you been talking to? Well, you know what, Fuzzy? They could be being used indiscriminately. I'm not going to sit up here. Listen, first of all, I will never sit up here and say that the system is for people of color because it is not. The system was always set up. The game was already set up against us from the beginning because the game was set up to keep us enslaved. That's a fact. So I'm not going to sit up here and act like I'm not woke and understand how the system was supposed to be working, right? However, comma, all of this stuff that they have laid out in front of us, in the words of Canaan, whatever they said he did that shit. I'm just saying, listen, Diddy more than likely made some enemies in some really bad places, okay? Some really high places. Y'all double tap that screen. And now Diddy is paying the piper, so to speak. Speaking of the piper, did y'all hear that R. Kelly overdosed? How the hell he overdosed? Did he attempt to unalive himself? Child, not R. Kelly. Not R. Kelly about to unalive. The staff gave him medicine. I just listened to some of this case, but he hasn't struck me as rising to anything close to this level. Aha! See, now you're thinking of Rico in the manner of La Cosa Nostra. Just like all of us were. But this is different. The way this Rico is going is completely different, you guys. It's completely different. This Rico is a Rico where you have to go and look it up in order to understand what the hell is going on. And let me tell you something about me. If you're new here, hello, my name is That Girl Henny, okay? And over here, we talk about all types of different things. I read court documents, I read transcripts, and I keep up with trending topics, okay? I am always going to be fair. I don't believe that everybody is guilty because someone said they're guilty. I have to look and see. And once I looked up what I needed to look up and saw for myself, I said, uh-oh, Reggie, Riddy's in trouble. Okay? They gave him fit and told him it was Tylenol. Y'all know R. Kelly can't read. Yo, that's crazy. Because I'm saying to myself, now how does a man who is in federal custody overdose on anything? That don't make no sense to me. But now I see. Now I see. It was a setup. Beyonce's Lace Front said guilty. T-E-A. Guilty E-A-T. You can't make this ish up. You really can't. You really can't. And it's sad because this case, I was telling somebody, this case really sits weird with me because we heard about Diddy for years, okay? We've heard about different things about Diddy over the years, but you got to think, go all the way back to City College. Go back to City College where that stampede happened and them people lost their lives at one of his events. Then bring it all the way up current. The nightclub shooting with him and Chime and just different little incidences here and there. And now you tell me that there hasn't been little driplets of stuff throughout the years. But never in a million years did I think that I would be sitting down listening to the things that I have been hearing. And then I'm sitting back saying to myself, how does one get away with all of this for so long? And it kind of put me in a space where, you know, with R. Kelly, it was different because the truth of the matter is we saw the video. Okay, people saw that video of that little girl and he was tinkling all on her. And people still continue to step in the name of love and believe they could fly. But then when the Me Too movement came out and these girls got up there and surviving R. Kelly, people were disgusted at what was going on, but we knew what was going on all of these years. But everybody turned a blind eye because people wanted to step in the name of love. And that's the truth. That's the truth, Ruth. So yeah, it kind of put me in a weird space with this, with looking at Diddy on that screen and hearing all of this stuff. And it's like, damn, like you accomplished so much and now your reputation is just tarnished. Because even if Diddy walks out of this, let's say Diddy gets, you know, by the grace of the Almighty Most High, let's say he do get up out of this. Can he come back? Can Diddy come back from this? Is there a comeback? Or is Diddy done? Who are you talking to? What did Aaron say? Oh, you know what, Aaron? Bye. You don't even get another chance. You blocked for life. Yeah, done is right. And it's sad. Is there any such thing as black excellence anymore? I'm just asking for myself. But anyway, I promised y'all that I was going to come and give y'all the update for today. And I really had to think about how I was going to give y'all this update because I really didn't know. A lot of us walked out of court today like, I don't even know what to say. But I promised y'all. So I came to give y'all the update. Now, we will begin getting into some of the things that we need to get into when it comes down to recapping and rehashing a lot of the stuff that has been going on in this trial so that we don't forget. Because pretty soon this trial is going to come to an end and the jury is going to deliberate. And we are going to need to refresh our minds of everything that the jury has to deliberate over. But anyway, y'all, I'm going to have my din-din and then a shower. And then I think I shall lay it down. But I want to thank y'all for tapping in and tuning in with That Girl Henny and enjoying this evening's spill with me. Be sure to join us next time when we come to spill some more on day 25 of the Diddy trial. This has been your gracious host, and I'll see y'all in the next spill. Ta-ta.